Hey guys, Shelter here. Now, this is going to be a bit of a long video. I'm going to be needing to explain it from the beginning, but basically, it's going to be talking about the campaign tree. Now, honestly, this thing needs a huge fucking rework from the beginning. Like, I'm just going to say it from beginning to end. This thing needs a whole rework. So, yeah. Now, I'm not going to say like I've got some video game design experience, so I can say that from my experience. I can probably say stuff, but I've also played a lot of FPS games. I've played quite a few actually, like back in the day. Modern Warfare 2 all the way to Black Ops 2 and some of the other games like that. So I played some games like I have played some FPSs, played stuff like Battlefield. No, I've not played Battlefield. I played stuff like Call of Duty a lot, but and some other and Counter Strike and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about what I think the changes need to be made for the tech tree. Now, I'm going to start off before because I've actually made some diagrams which I'm going to show off. They're a bit. I wouldn't say they're the best looking diagrams, but I don't care. But main thing is getting rid of these like individual levels of like the Tiger and stuff like this, and the ME410 and the Faust. Now, the reason I've suggested doing this is because the reason I'm doing this is because I'm actually gonna make it if this went my way. Instead, the campaign tree would stay the same. Basically, it would still be a campaign tree. You still level up, but instead of getting like individual weapons and stuff like this, the campaign tree is used to get squads. Basically, it's like tanker squads and engineer squads. Stuff like that. Whereas and there'll be a complete new section which I'm going to explain. It'll make more sense the longer I explain, which will be about the how to get all weapons, which will quite and the way the weapons are unlocked is via a new specific resource. Obviously this is all theory based. This hasn't been executed. This is not some like official update or anything. This is just my theory on what this could how this could be changed. Maybe for the better, maybe for the worst. Anyways, I'm going to start by showing, the diagrams. I'll show them on the screen in a little bit and then explain them. Explain them what they are. So, yeah. Anyways, the diagrams are all going to be about, the weapons. So it'll basically go like, level 2 tanker squad, level 3 engineer squad, level 4 pilot, level 5 flame trooper, 6 Vader operator, 7 gunners, or bomber, gunner, at like level 7 or something like that, level 8 gunner, level 9 pilot. 10 mortars, stuff like that, and then it goes on and on from there. So, sniper, rifleman, attack pilot 2s and stuff like that. Tanker 2s, assaulter 2s, engineer 2s, and then onwards and onwards like that. Basically, that's how I would do the progression. For this, so basically, instead of just you'll get one level just the Faust. It'll be, one level is going to be and then the next level is the Panther tank with the tank of 3s. It'll go, instead, in my theory base, it'll go a pilot 2, flame trooper 2, tank of 3, for example. Stuff like that. Anyways, let's start. I'm going to be starting with the allies, showing what I mean, and then you can work things out from then on. I'm going to put timestamps in the description, so if you want to see how the allies look, you want to see how the Axis look, do that. Look in the description. Anyways, let's start with the first one. Let's start with the allies. So, like I said, I'm starting off with the allies here. So this is going to be the allies' rifles. Now, this does look kind of complicated, but I'll try and explain what it is. So basically, as you can see here, there's a bunch of this was it's a draft obviously, but obviously so it's kind of like a tree in a way. So you can see here there's a lot of arrows and stuff. So the way it's working here is that the more the further down the tree you get, you can see there's a lot of things here. So it starts off starting weapon Springfield, completely free. Anything here in the starting weapons box is free from this draft, but everything else will need to be bought with these requisitional orders, if you know what I mean. Basically, kind of similar how the orders come, the bronze and silver orders are earned. These are earned in battle, if in my theory. But what's different here is that everything, has, starting cost. They all can be bought immediately, but the difference is that the more you invest in certain things, the more, the cheaper it costs. So you can see here, that's what the arrows are. So if you buy the Winchester before the M1 carbine, the M1 carbine will cost less. If you buy the Enfield before, if you buy the Enfield first, you'll make the model 1894, the Johnson, and the number 3 cost less, and it's stuff like that. And you can see here the upgrades things. Now, anything which has upgrades like bayonets, launchers, scopes, for example, that's what this means. And basically, they can be bought separately. Again, if you own the rifle, the main rifle, you can buy these, without, in my theory-based one, you can buy these without buying the weapon itself. So, like, for example, if you want to buy the Model T in Normandy, you can buy it without buying the number 4. But if you buy the number 4, it will cost less. Obviously, if you buy the number 3, it will cost less. If you buy the Enfield, of course. So, the way it works is you go Enfield, number 3, number 4, right? And then you can go either into the Johnson, so you can go Johnson, the Grand, and then the Johnson LMG, or you can go for the Winchester, the carbine with the A1 carbine with some upgrades, so like bayonets and maybe the launcher, and then the M2 carbine with the bayonet, obviously being its upgrade path. Yeah, so it's kind of, so basically it's kind of like, or if you want to, say you just want to skip the Enfield and you don't want to deal with carbine, you can go straight for the Johnson, the Garand, and then the Johnson. So it's stuff like that. That's how I would, implement it. I'm going to show you what, for the other sides, and then I'm going to explain, what I've done, obviously why I've picked these. Anyways, I mean, there's a lot more for the Axis, believe me. So you can see, like, there's a lever action carbine here, followed by, where the Johnson, of course, has, I'd say the Johnson's worse than the Garand, but obviously that's more apples and pears. But anyways, let's move on to the SMGs, and then we'll go into the LMGs, and then we'll move on to the final thing, which is, of course, the team weapons, like the the AP rifles and stuff like that, AT rifles and like flamethrowers and shit like that. So here's the assault weapons. Now I have put stuff like the Hyde on here and the M50, which I know are premium squads, but I just wanted to put them on here. So he starts here with the grease gun, obviously the shit. Now, another thing is, the higher in the, which I didn't mention earlier, the higher, the higher up in the tree it is, the cheaper it is. So for instance, the M3A1 grease gun and the double-barreled shotgun are cheaper than the Hyde, the Sten, the Thompson, the M50, the Owen, all that, and the drum bag Thompson at the bottom is the most expensive. If that makes sense. So the M3A1 grease gun obviously would be, so you can see here I've gone for the shotgun and then the grease gun. So the way I was intending this one was, so you have like the cheaper SMGs here, like the cheap effective ones like the Hyde and the M50. And then you have like the Thompsons and the, around this side, and then you have the Commonwealth weapons here. Which I thought, and then you have the shotguns here, which of course for the people who use them. So I said double-barreled shotgun because I had no idea, because there's loads of different models for double-barreled shotgun. And then I went for the Model 12, obviously because the Model 12 is already in the game. I also tried to be a bit, unique, obviously. So I got the Owen gun, the M50, the Hyde. I was trying not to use gold orders as much as I could. But again, and I was trying to stay, I was trying to add as much new, some new weapons, obviously, but I don't know. So yeah, this is the thing, as you can see here. I went grease gun, Hyde, which can branch out into the Thompson and the Sten for the discount. The 50, which can be discounted on the 21-28 Thompson and the Sten. The M1 Thompson, the M1A1 Thompson, and the drum mag Thompson, with the Lancaster and the Thompson giving discounts to each other. I wanted it so, like, obviously the A1 Thompson and the Lancaster, everyone, it's, those are apples and pears, really. They're both great weapons. But, if you buy the Lancaster first, you get a discount on the Thompson. It's kind of like that. But of course, like I said, you can buy them in any order. So you can buy the M1, the drum mag Thompson immediately if you save up, or you could go grease gun, Hyde, Thompson, 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 Thompson. Stuff like that. Anyways, let's move on to the next one, which is going to be the LMGs. I honestly had a little bit of hard time picking the LMGs for the Allies, I meant, because the Allies don't really have many LMGs. So I went for the BAR M1918, Bren, and then the 1918. So basically, you can pick between the BAR or the Bren, and then if you want to, you can go into the Lewis gun. Honestly, you can buy the Lewis gun early, and if you buy both the Brens and the M1918 A1, you can get the Lewis, for cheaper, and then both of them feed onto the A6. Which, yeah, and obviously, of course, the A2 here, which is on the same level as the Lewis. Obviously, because the Lewis is in the game. These are all in the game. All of these weapons are in the game. These ones, this is probably the only time that you actually find something like this, which is all the weapons are in the game. I think this is is it the only one? I probably think this is actually the only one, but there wasn't much to go through. I wasn't going to, because really, all there was going to be else, it might be the chore chat, but who cares about the chore chat for the Allies, right? Oh boy. I just remembered. Anyways, let's move on to the team weapons. Again, for the team weapons, there wasn't really much to go on, but so what I decided here was M1 flamethrower, boys AT rifle, and the 3-inch. You get them when you get the squads. So I was breaking my rule a little bit with stuff like the flamethrowers, the MGs and stuff like that. You get them when you unlock the squads, because that just makes more sense. Otherwise, you'd have to buy the weapons onwards. So you get the flamethrower here, the M1A1 flamethrower, which is a slight better over the flamethrower. Maybe you can have maybe more ammo. M2 flamethrower, which I actually misspelled here because I'm a fucking idiot. I went for the 3-inch mortar and the M1 mortar, which is a 3-inch, which is a 76mm mortar, and an 81mm mortar. M1 bazooka, which feeds onto the Piat, and the M1A1 bazooka, which feeds onto the M9 bazooka. So yeah, not really much here, but there wasn't really much to say about these. You'll see this when you get to the Axis one. So anyway, speaking of that, let's actually get on to the Axis. I didn't make one for vehicles or planes, but yeah, I could have, but I didn't make one. Anyways, let's move on to the Axis. I think I went a little bit overboard with the Axis in terms of this one, but I wanted to be unique with the Axis. So, as you can see, this is what I've done for the Axis. You start with the pre-war Kar 98K as the starting rifle, but then you get the Kar 98K with the upgrade. So, the pre-war, you get it unlocked, you get the scope and all of that. But the upgrade one, so that includes like the AT rifles, the She-Specker, you get the scope, the bayonet, stuff like that. And then I decided to be a bit unique with the Axis one, so it goes from I decided to have it so with the Axis it goes Italian weapons, captured French weapons, captured other weapons, and then like German native designs. The rifles were the exception, because I put the FG42 here in its category on its own, because I made it incredibly expensive. But you can see here, you start really, kind of a bit weak. So you've got like the Carcano, you got the Lebel, you got the G33T, which is a Czech rifle, and you've also got the Mannlicher 1895, which I believe is the one in the game at the moment. And obviously the Mannlicher upgrades, obviously. And then you can go down here. So if you buy the Lebel, if you buy the G33T, if you buy the Maz, if you buy the Mannlicher, you get, discounts on the Gewehr 41. Obviously, of course, the ZH29 gets a discount from the Gewehr 33T, the Lebel, the Maz, the Italian, the Spaghetti gun. Obviously, I went for Carcanos here, because why not? And I went for the Gewehr 43 with some upgrades here. It's like the the rifle grenades for the Gavir 43 and stuff like that. And the FG42 is right at the bottom where it belongs. Basically, expensive to get the FG, but, you know, the FG is still as overpowered as it normally is, if you know what I mean. But this way, you actually have to make an investment to get the FG, and you don't get any discounts for it. Anyways, let's move on to the SMGs, and this one will be insane. Told you it'd be insane. I generally went a bit overboard with the SMGs here. I think I went a tad bit overboard with how many SMGs, but there was so many SMGs, and I'm thinking, you know, I wanted to keep the path the same. So you've got the Italians, the captured weapons, native German weapons, and then like the shotguns. So I'm going to start with the shotguns. You can see here, Drellin, which the difference between is that the Drellin will be a triple barreled option. So I don't know, maybe replace move the Drellin up here and not have the double barrel shotgun. That one's kind of hit or miss. But with the native designs, obviously you can see here. Actually, I'll start with the Italians. Let's go from left to right. For the Italians, I've got the FNAV right at the top because the FNAV is the worst. Got the Beretta M1 here because the Beretta M1 is actually not bad. If you watched my standout video, you'll see that I put it as the standout weapon for Axis Tunisia. Got the OVP and the Beretta M1918. Mostly the same rifle, but the Beretta M1918 is slightly better. Then, of course, the Model 38, because of course it is, because I had to put that in, because of course I did. Maz 38, which was a French captured weapon, which I'm surprised isn't actually in the game yet. I mean, come on, we've got the Lebel and we've got the, we've got the Maz 36, why not the 38? This one was interesting. This is whatever the hell it is. It's a Romanian SMG. I just wanted to put a Romanian flare in here. Obviously, the ZK, which is, of course, the level 26 unlock already. The M39, which is in Moscow and Stalingrad. I just wanted the M39 in Normandy. It looks good. I mean, the M39 just looks awesome. And also, I put the 717 because the 717 actually was in Normandy. I even put it in my suggestion video for Normandy for the Axis. For the native stuff, obviously I said the MP27 at the start, but I also said the MP18, the Irma EMP, which was, again, this was a Weimar Republic weapon. So was the MP18. Well, the MP18 was a... so the MP28, but the MP18 was First World War, so German Empire. MP38 here, but then I went MP34 and MP40. MP41 with some upgrades. The reason being is that the dual mag upgrade, maybe that one could be here, but it would be insanely expensive. Could be interesting actually to have an MP41 with a dual mag in the game, other than the Berlin Premium Squad. MP35 because it's overpowered, and then obviously right at the bottom is the MP43 because it's the MP43. Yeah, I went a bit overboard with the SMG and the assault options here, as you can see, but I think, there was a lot of SMGs here I could have picked from, so, yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the LMGs. Unlike the other Axis weapons, this looks a lot more bare bones. But, I decided to go, as you can see here, I started with the Chore Chat, yeah, which is why I made my joke earlier. But this time I actually decided to go MG13 and the Beretta Model 30, and not the Breda Model 30, not the Beretta Model 30. God. Don't stain Beretta's good name with introducing that shit to it. I also went for the Browning M1918, but the Polish version of it. As if you get this crap and you also get the MG13, you can get the Polish BAR. The ZB26 here as well, because why not? I already had about half a dozen Czech guns already, so I thought, why not throw one more in? There was a lot of Czech guns in the in Normandy, so that's why. MG13 with the drum, which is of course the Premium Squad. I made that one just because why not? And then of course 34, 42, 34 drum. and maybe below this 42 with the 100 rounder, but to compete with the 1919. But I don't know. Anyways, let's move on to the final pick, which is of course the Axis team weapons. Really wasn't much to pick for the Axis team weapons, so yeah, not really much. I've said the Flammenwerfer 35 or Flammenwerfer Joystick, the Panzerbushel 39, Grantwerfer 36 as well, the Flammenwerfer Einstein Viersig as well here. Obviously, the upgrade path normally. And I decided to go with the 34 because it's a bit of a heavier mortar, but yeah. I think the main thing was the Sturm pistol straight into the Faust 60, Faust 100 and the Shrek, and obviously of course the Bushel the 39, the Panzerbushel 39 here. But yeah, that's basically it really. That's all I've got. I said I didn't do one for tanks yet. I didn't do one for tanks. I didn't do one for planes. If you guys want to, I might do one for tanks and planes. Let me know in the comments if you want to see me do ones for tanks and planes. And yeah, I'm going to end the video here. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.